Thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your evening to join us today. We hope this is going to be an informative event to teach you a little bit, to give you some information about what the ASSFN is doing, some of the interesting initiatives that are being undertaken, give you a chance to ask questions, learn how you can get involved, and then, time permitting, potentially provide some feedback or give us some ideas about where you'd like the ASSFN to go and what it might be able to do. And certainly, if you don't have a chance to ask a question here, please go ahead and just email any one of us, and we'd be happy to pass those along to the proper people. So the basic agenda tonight looks like this. We'll go through each of these, and if you guys want to post questions in the chat, I can relay them at the appropriate times or towards the end, depending on how things are going time-wise. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Politzis, the ASSFN president.
Thanks so much, Dr. Assad, and thank you all for taking time out this evening. Thanks to all the board members as well that could attend, and to Feng Tran for helping us get organized and stay on track. So if we can move to the next slide, that'd be wonderful. This is your current ASSFN Board of Directors. I'm really proud of this board, though it does make me feel very old. Of these folks on, we've spent a lot of time making sure that we had diverse representation from a gender perspective, from a race and ethnicity perspective, and from an aspect of functional neurosurgery that people are involved in. And I couldn't ask for a finer group of people to work with. Next slide. It's funny because to get through the ASSFN board, it takes many years. So you can see a much younger looking me here, and a much younger looking Andre. And the president elect is Ellen Eyre. So on the board, the terms are 2 years for the officers, and we change every 2 years. So Joseph Nima just rotated off being past president. Andre is now past president. I'm serving as president. Ellen is the president-elect, and Clement is secretary and treasurer. Next slide. I just mentioned Joseph, and the president before Joseph was Bob Gross. And it was really great because sometimes in organizations, as you all know, there seems to be fluidity between what the mission is based on who's leading the organization. I think we probably see this in our own departments or workplaces, or in hospital or academic administration. And, Bob really had a lot of foresight in putting together a strategic plan and bringing all the future officers together. So this wasn't just his plan, but all of our plans. And this was a labor of love that we hired an outside consultant to help us with, Dr. Dorothy Eyre. And we worked together and spent many nights starting in 2020 trying to put together a plan. And for those of you that have been through strategic plans, they can be grueling, but at the same time, you can really get to know people and, really put together what the mission's aims are. And so the vision we came up with at that time as an aspirational vision was a world in which people with disorders of the nervous system enjoy better lives. And, I think that was, I really like this vision as I was reading it tonight and preparing for this. I think it's inspiring, and what we do on a daily basis, no matter whether we're practicing neurosurgery, involved in research, or in any of our positions. The mission is a little bit more tangible and helps direct the action items of the society. And our mission is to realize the full potential of functional neurosurgery to improve patients' lives through education, collaboration, innovation, and advocacy. Next slide. So, a big part of going through the strategic plan, and many of you may have participated in the town halls we had, trying to figure out what direction we wanted to go, because, this is a plan for the organization, and members are the crux of the organization. And again, sometimes, when we're at work, we see different silos of people working. You might have like a nursing silo, or the CMO might have a particular silo, and things don't come together. So what was important to us was to kind of nail down our committees and how they may interface with one another, focusing really on research, advocacy, and education. And then as we thought about each of those subcommittees, we depicted this Venn diagram, because so many of the things, when you're trying to put them one way or the other, don't quite fit only in one box. And we wanted to make sure that our leaders of each of these committees and then subcommittees were interfacing with the people that they needed to. And so I think setting up some of the organization has been very helpful. Next slide. So with that, I think, one, we wanted to set the crux of the governance and operation, and then came out with some tangible goals for each of the pillars in research, education, and clinical advocacy. And we've been working through these goals over the time when we first rolled this out. So I think we started in 2020, but maybe we rolled it out at like 2022. So over the last 3 years. Next slide. And, I think we've made meaningful progress. Notably, if you don't have an organization that functions, you can't do anything else. So we started with governance and operations, aligning ourselves to that vision and mission, making sure that our organization and its plan and its committee structure worked. Getting a hold of ours and your finances to make sure that we were investing and prioritizing things that were important to us, which we all know and recognize as, the biannual meeting that we're just coming off of, that we had great success with. We realized that we needed to better communicate in order to engage people. So we had a series of town halls a couple of years ago, and we started working behind the scenes on the website. And if you haven't been on our website lately, it's much better than some of you who might remember our old website. And Dr. Wu will be taking us through those efforts, and has really commanded a lot of those efforts. We've increased our social media presence and kind of modernized some of our logo a little bit without losing its focus. We've increased the diversity of the board, and I think we want to talk about how we can do this better with membership, better alignment. I started on the right side of the screen because, we were ticking those boxes, but as we go through research, we had a number of points of pride, providing a comprehensive young investigator mentorship program. We've had multiple iterations of this. First, for mentee mentors. I know many of us on the line spent time with many people trying to come up with a mentorship plan for new attendings and fellows. And now we're excited to tell you more about the next stage of that. We've invested in a research funding plan, and we'll hear a little bit about that tonight. We started doing some understanding of what the educational needs of each group we serve are, but I think we can continue to go down that route. And, I think probably in organized neurosurgery, one of the key things that is done for us is through the Washington Committee, and many of the folks in ASSFN have been involved in that, namely Josh Rosenau and Jason Schwab, and now John Rolston, really just trying to help us move this forward. Next slide. So, I think over this first year of my presidency, we want to keep working through some of these items. And, so our plan is improved website, more social media, increasing member engagement through an updated webinar and newsletter, and better communication of what's going on, and not just communication out, but communication inwards. To that end, throughout this, feel free to type in any questions into the chat, or even if you have ideas as this slide comes up and you think, gosh, wouldn't it be great if ASSFN does this? We want to know what you think the best directions are to go in. We don't want to be in our own little silo, because sometimes, when you're used to talking to the same people, the same ideas come up. So please let us know, either in the chat or, as Dr. Weil said, email me directly, jpolitzis@arizona.edu, or any of the board members. We're also looking under advocacy to, make sure that we're a resource for insurance appeal facilitation, continuing to work with the Washington Committee. And, we're looking into guidelines and consensus documents that really help us as functional neurosurgeons do what we're meant to do, and really what our expertise is in. Next slide. I'd like to turn over the presentation to Dr. Rowland for a moment, who's going to speak to us about how you can get involved.
Thank you, Dr. Politzis. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I'm Nathan Rowland. I'm chair of the DEI committee. I also serve on the membership committee, and just wanted to echo a lot of the initiatives that Julie talked about in her opening. I think she did a really good job of just trying to outline the structure of what we're doing and a lot of the mission and vision that we have. So I just want to just compliment her on a great job summarizing what's been a lot of activity recently, just to try to move the organization forward in its mission. If you were at the last meeting in Nashville, you know that it was a extremely vibrant meeting. It was our biggest meeting yet. It was uh, fantastic from a lot of perspectives, including representation and membership and so forth. Having said that, we still want to increase membership, and in particular, membership engagement. And so we want people to get involved. We do have, or we just opened a volunteer drive. So we want more volunteers to join some of these committees that Julie outlined, so that we can continue to grow and to move the organization forward. And the graphic that you're looking at is on our website. So if you do want to get involved, please see the website. I think it's on the landing page, or maybe one step below that. You can click the button to learn more. And you can also email me at rolandn@musc.edu for more information. And I'm happy to set up a call and we can talk more about the various committees that you could be a part of.
Dr. Benheim, could you speak to us for a moment about our upcoming webinars?
Okay, yes, yeah, I would be delighted. So we have launched a new webinar series. Really, the aim of these webinars are to target senior level residents interested in functional neurosurgery, to target fellows currently in our space, to target early career functional neurosurgeons, but the topics are relevant such that they could be of interest really to any functional neurosurgeon. And so these webinars are taking place every other month. We have set them to happen on the second Wednesday of the month, and almost all of them will start at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, or 8 p.m. Eastern, rather, 7 p.m. Central. So topics, as you can see here, really have a wide breadth. We had our first webinar already on September 11th, and it was quite successful. We had 62 registrants, and really a whole host of live participants. Further future topics, we'll have our second webinar in the Transition to Practice series, which will really focus on things like negotiating a functional neurosurgery position. Then we'll have a series of webinars on optimizing DBS targeting. The first one will really talk about just the very basics of DBS targeting, basic tools, how to do it, how different people do it. Will be a panel discussion, and will be a lot of room for interaction with the audience, really to get some of those basic questions answered. And then the second part of that series will really be kind of looking at advanced techniques, advanced tools, imaging, kind of things that are still in research methodologies, but are, some people are using clinically or soon will be using clinically. And then our last webinar in the series will be building and coding for functional neurosurgery, which I think is a topic really relevant to optimization for everybody. We also do have quite a robust podcast series that people like Tessa Harland and Danica Paolo worked very hard on, and we are looking to integrate our webinar series and augment it with some up and coming future podcasts. So that's something that we're kind of actively discussing and working on. We certainly encourage attendance of these webinars. If you have any suggestions for future webinars that you'd like to see, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear any suggestions. And if you can't actually log on and participate at this particular time for these webinars, we have recorded them. Our first webinar has been recorded and is actually up on our newly created YouTube channel. That YouTube channel is in the process of being linked to our website and will be available there, but currently can be found under American Society for Stereotactic and Functional Neurosurgery, and currently has some highlights from our 2024 annual meeting and also our first series in the webinar. So look to that for all of our up and coming educational webinar content.
Thank you very much, Dr. Benheim. And, I believe that while the topics are set, not all the speakers or moderators are identified. Dr. Harlan and Dr. Paulo are a resident and fellow, respectively. And so for their podcast, I know they'd love to interview many of you on some of these topics as follow-up items. So when you're thinking about volunteering, if you don't have time to do a whole committee, but you would be willing to help out the resident and fellow, do a podcast, or give a little bit of time in the webinar, we would really appreciate that. And again, just contact us and we'll get you involved with that. And we'll continue this series probably at the same cadence moving forward. And so there'll be another 5 next year, and we'll go from there. Next up is Dr. Ali, who's going to be talking to us about the newly revived newsletter.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We can go to the next slide. So it's a pleasure to be able to be here to talk to you a little bit about our newsletter. We have named it NeuroPulse. We're going to release it at a quarterly cadence. And the whole purpose of this newsletter is to make it relevant to our membership, to keep you engaged and informed of what is happening with the ASSFN, different opportunities that come up, updates on the annual meeting, recapping important strides that the society has made, making sure that the membership is aware of the strategic mission and vision of the society and our leadership. So you will get email notifications on the email address that you have used for your membership. The newsletter can be viewed in a browser form, and you will be able to see the various stories that we have decided to put in that particular newsletter. You'll see smaller snippets of it, as you can see on the slide. And then if you click on the read more link, next slide, please. It will then redirect you to our website where you can read the full-length article. This will have URLs and hyperlinks to different initiatives that we are starting. For example, the call for volunteers, some other research programs, mentorship programs that other speakers after me are going to talk about. But the newsletter is a great way for you to know, and no pun intended, but keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening with the ASSFN. If you have certain stories or you would like to learn more about something regarding the ASSFN or any of its committee structures, please let us know. You can send us an email. You can comment on the posts on social media where we're advertising the newsletter, and let us know what stories you would like to see, who you would like to hear from, what your priorities as membership are, and we would be more than happy to incorporate that. And then, as always, we're looking for volunteers who can contribute some time to the development of the newsletter. The whole goal would be to make sure, A, we're vetting out stories that are meaningful to our membership. We are reaching out to the correct people who can give us appropriate insight into this, and making sure that we are reaching the audience of interest. So please reach out to me directly or our education email. You can comment on the various social media posts, or put your comments and suggestions in the chat right now if you would like. And we will certainly take all of that into consideration, and really hoping that after our volunteer drive, we'll have a few interested people who will be interested in taking this to a new level. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Wu. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share.
Sure. Switch over here. Give me a moment. Here we go. Hopefully everybody can see that in my web browser here. So again, great. My name is Chen Wu at Thomas Jefferson. I've had the honor of serving on the board. This is now my second term, and a lot of that I've been intimately involved with revamping the website that you see here. I'm showing you obviously the computer form, but we've also made sure that that this is also viewable with a good formatting on also other devices such as phones and tablets. And this is really in large part due to a new partnership that we've established with 729 Solutions, who has helped us with not only redesigning the website, but also what I think is very important in keeping it up to date. Because in my opinion, if we put a lot of effort into revamping it, but don't actually keep it up to date, then I think all is for naught. So we've made a strong effort to keep things fresh, adding new content and so forth. So as you've seen here, and as Dr. Rowland had mentioned before on the landing page, you can have links if you're not a member already to become a member, as well as the link here to learn more. If you click on here to the call for volunteers, where you can apply now and let us know what you might be interested in. Scrolling down, we know that a lot of people access the Stereotactic and Functional Neurosurgery Journal through the website, and so we have multiple links for it there here on the home page, in the top menu here, and also I'll show you the member profile page. As others have mentioned, the podcast direct linked here, links to our social media, and then basically a navigation panel at the bottom, which if you can't necessarily find anything, you should be able to find everything here. Things that we're looking to add in the future are seemingly simple things like a search bar, so you can just find things without actually knowing what menu it falls under. But as I'm dealing with this more and working with 729, some simple things are easier said than done. So certainly things on the docket for us to continue to improve. One big thing that we've done is certainly taken some of our content that we've created over the years and taken out from behind the member page. If you look here, there's this education media page used to be behind a member wall. We want to make it more accessible to everybody. So this is where you can certainly see prior podcasts. In fact, as Dr. Ali was saying and Dr. Benheim, was that this is some of our old webinars that were done. And in fact, the most recent one is actually here. And this will bring you right to the most recent webinar and also the ASSFN YouTube page. So certainly a little bit on the bare bones side. We'll work on making it a little flashier as well, but the content is certainly here. One big change that we made is to try to make this more accessible to everybody as well. And in the past, I think the website was primarily geared only to members being practicing clinicians. When we had initial discussions with 729, the discussion actually started with, who do you want this to appeal to? So we changed the formatting to the menu to reflect the different people that might be encountering the website. So in addition to not only practitioners, but residents and fellows, where everybody's going to have a little bit of different needs, where you can find things like fellowship opportunities if you go here and you have a full listing here. But what's completely new is a patient-facing portion of the website. And from a volunteer standpoint, this is certainly something that we could use help building out. We've populated some of this with just kind of initial content, but this can certainly be built out more. The whole idea is that we want this to also be a resource not only for ourselves but also for the patients that we're treating. And then also, if healthcare institutions, hospitals, healthcare systems want to submit a job opportunity, we want to be able to facilitate that as well, and also with industry and how we partner with them. So really focusing on different populations of users to the site and allowing them to navigate that properly. Ultimately, if you have any questions, again, I think the main theme here is, if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out. The contact us form is here. These messages effectively just come to me. But if you want to either fill out there, but there's also some of our emails here as well. My email is here. Dr. Plitz is also here. So some of our emails are directly here. If you don't have them readily available, they are on the website. Last thing I want to show is that, as you may or may not know, with ASSFN being the CNS AANS subsection for stereotactic functional neurosurgery, membership is actually through AANS. And part of the login issues in the past and difficulty accessing the member content was that there were separate logins for your ASSFN website and then for the AANS website. We decided to simplify that. So since everything is run completely under AANS, that the login actually brings you to a single sign-on login through my AANS, as you can see here. So if I'm logging into my AANS, it will log me in through that and then kick me back into the ASSFN site. And so now with the check mark here and my initials here, I know that I'm logged in and I can access the journal, things behind the member wall, like the member directory, where this used to be just a pure list of members. Now you can actually type in and search and consolidate, so you can see different people just by typing in their name. So again, trying to make this more user friendly, but all of the member content is going to be found here as well. So those are certainly the main things. All this takes a lot of work for sure, but I'm always open to comment and feedback on how we can make it better. This site is for you, the members, as well as, like I said, patients and everybody else. And I can go in and make as many changes as I think are appropriate, but I think without necessary feedback from the people using the site, that's going to certainly help more, especially if you find a bug, if you find a broken link or something, sure, absolutely let me know, and we'll get it rectified as soon as possible. And obviously, if you have interest in being more involved with keeping the website up to date and so forth, fill out the volunteer form with that in particular, and we can also get you involved. So I think that's all I have from my end.
Dr. Wu, there is a question for you.
Okay.
It was noted that somebody trying to search for the website, it doesn't come up as one of the top results in Google, and they tried searching in different modes and different profiles, and apparently it's still difficult to find. So if they're wondering if there are efforts to increase the visibility, of the website.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's all this, SEO game and and so forth. We are starting to track metrics. Ultimately, it ends up becoming where do we put that in that priority list of things to get done? Visibility from that standpoint also will, not only take time, but also money. So it's a matter of where do we prioritize things. That's certainly on the list. I think this is the hard part, is that, my initial goal was to get the website kind of up and running and modernized first. I think something like that is very quickly climbing up the list of things that we want to do. So yes, definitely on our agenda.
Another question is if there's anywhere on the website for people who might want to donate to the ASSFN.
Yeah, I don't think we have that overtly right now. It's a great, obviously we'd be happy to take that, but no, there's no direct link for that now, but great suggestion, something that we can certainly add.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wu. I will move on, Dr. Englot.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Assad. I'm Dario Englot at Vanderbilt, and I'm helping with the Education Committee. And I want to tell you about a new mentorship program that we have started this year. It's called the Amplify Mentorship Program, and that stands for authorship, mentorship, partnership, and leadership. And essentially, the goal is to increase exposure and practical guidance and networking for trainees to get more access to functional neurosurgery. And that's both in a research realm and a clinical realm. And the idea is to target both medical students and residents that fall under the ASSFN guys and our members here in North America, and pair them with a mentor to let them access clinical skills, clinical observation, research opportunities that they may not otherwise have at their particular institution. And so that may be because they don't have a lot of functional neurosurgery at their institution, or maybe they just don't have the particular expertise in a research question or clinical topic that they're particularly interested in, and they've identified a location and a mentor somewhere else in the country that may have that expertise and be willing to mentor them. And essentially what the program is going to involve, it's going to be a 1-year relationship where the mentor and mentee are in contact and planning for a project. Again, could be clinical and research or a combination. But then it's also going to involve a 3-month on-site visit. And that would be a time when the trainees, they're on site with the mentor, and the financial support to offset the housing and the board and the travel would be paid for by ASSFN through this mentorship program. And so the program has up to 4 slots in this first year. This is going to be for the 2025-2026 academic year, so beginning this coming July 1st. And the idea would be to have that 1-year relationship, 2025-26, anywhere in there, have a 3-month on-site visit, and then present their experience at the next ASSFN biennial meeting, which is going to be June 2026 in Cleveland at the end of this year. We can go to the next slide. This is on our website that Chen just went through, and it's also been sent out to member emails, but you can find it on our website. But basically, the application materials are pretty straightforward. It requires a cover letter confirming the mentee and mentor's membership in ASSFN, and if they want to join right at the last minute to be able to be eligible, that's fine. Obviously, a CV for the mentee to see what their background and goals are, a letter of support from the mentor, and this needs to include confirmation that both the mentees gotten permission to leave their institution, and the mentor's site has given permission for that person to spend time there. And if that includes clinical interactions, it would have to obviously include that clinical experience too, whether it be through a medical student rotation or even just a clinical observership. And then the proposal, we're putting at a 4-page limit to have all of the different components. And that includes information on the applicant's background, where they're at and what they're doing currently, and then why they're seeking out this particular experience, why they're seeking out this particular mentor, if there's any formal coursework that would be described. And then if this is a research project, then we'll ask for a mini kind of grant-like proposal for the research, whether it be basic or translational or clinical science, talking about the significance and the approach, and in particular, the impact on functional neurosurgery. So the timeline is right now. The original due date when this was first announced in August is in a few days now, but we're going to be extending this up to give people, anyone who might be interested on this call here, some extra time. We'll extend it to November 1st for the due date for these applications, and then the education committee will spend a couple months reviewing the applications and advising which applications to support, and then how much to support them with based on what the financial needs might be for that particular experience, based on how far the applicant's going from home and what their particular needs may be. And that'll be finalized with confirmation, with contact with the mentee and mentor. And then the fellowship experiences will be in July through June of next year, 2026. And the last slide here is the website, the full link, then there's also a tiny URL, and then there's a QR code. You can find this on our website for the application, and you can reach out to me anytime for questions. There's my email there, and of course, if you have any questions now, feel free to put them into the chat. But it's an opportunity that I think we're excited to support. Obviously, we are have a significant goal to increase exposure and interest to functional neurosurgery, and to really make sure that these individuals, trainees who may not have the particular experience they're looking for at their institution can find the support through the ASSFN to get that elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Englot. Some of the comments in the chat are expressing enthusiasm, so expect to hear from more people hopefully soon.
Look forward to it.
We're going to move on to Dr. Sweet, who's going to tell us about the ASSFN Research Committee and what they're doing.
Hi, thank you very much. And I'm excited to see such a great turnout. So hopefully this is helpful. The biggest thing that we're doing with the research committee is part of the strategic planning that Dr. Politzis discussed earlier was to establish a research component for this society, because research is such a big part of what we do. And so we decided to have a full committee, and we also decided to invest as a society a fair amount of our funds to supporting research. The way we decided to do this was to sponsor one awardee every 2 years for a large research project. And the thought was that if we could give a substantial sum of money to this applicant or to the awardee, they could really do something potentially relevant with their funds, and make just make a dent in some meaningful research that could potentially allow them for subsequent research funding, such as a subsequent K grant or other type of NIH or other sponsored research. So what we decided to do, it's sort of like a pre-K grant, if you want to think of it that way. We're hoping to sponsor young faculty, but fellows can apply, or people who might be sort of a little bit beyond the first couple of years of their attending period can also apply if needed. And we'll consider those applicants. And the goal is to come up with a project that's relevant in some capacity to stereotactic and functional neurosurgery. And we wanted to have the potential to offer mentorship. We were hoping to sponsor individuals who might come from programs where they don't necessarily have a functional mentor in their institution. So it would allow for sort of cross-pollination and having, sorry, there's some background noise here. It would allow for applicants to be paired with mentors who are members of the ASSFN who belong to other institutions and give us the opportunity to really get to know each other across institutions, and provide resources and mentorship and other guidance that somebody might not otherwise have. So we have a list of mentors on the grant. I don't know if you can scroll through some of the slides here, sorry. If you can, yeah, so the eligibility here is a young neurosurgeon, mentorship selection on the grant application process in the portal. And I'll talk about that in a minute. You have some mentors listed within the ASSFN membership with different, with their research interests, and they are interested in being mentors. You can reach out to them, discuss your project idea with them, and then get a letter of support from these potential mentors, and then submit that with your application. If you do not know which mentor you would like, you can potentially also apply, and we can match you with a potential mentor who might be a good individual for your research interests. And then the thought is really just to have this this research grant funded for 2 years, as I said. We did this once. We've had one inaugural awardee who's making a lot of progress, and we decided to team up with the NREF Society, which is the Honor Your Mentor Fund for and have them help us to sponsor the award application this year. So now this year, while you might be able to find some information on our website, we're going to have you go through the AANS NREF Foundation website, and they have a portal. Applications are open already, and they are due by November 1st. Then we'll have a big review process, and we'll go through and review the grants and decide on an awardee. So we're interested in the research topic. We're interested in mentor selection. We're interested in your own background and your own resources and experiences in your institution. And we're also interested in getting new mentors on the list. So if you are somebody who has research already in your institution and you would like to serve as a mentor, please reach out to us and we can add you to the list. And then finally, if you can scroll through some of those slides, this is kind of the required application. All this stuff can be found on the website. Next slide, please. So in addition, now that we've established this research opportunity, as part of the research committee, we'd like to do some other things and have other resources available for our membership. So if you would like to serve on the research committee and help out with some of these ideas, please reach out to us. If you would like to, I'm sorry for this background. If you would like to, sorry, if you would like to make other suggestions on what we can do as a committee to be more meaningful for members, and please let me know as well, and we would be more than happy to add this to our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sweet. This is a reminder for the next meeting in 2026 that'll happen in Cleveland. So you guys can put this in your calendars. And then at this point, I think we're running a few minutes early. Everybody's been very efficient and to the point. If there are any questions or suggestions, you can put it right now in the chat, or like I said, you can find us in the member directory or directly on the website, and you can email whoever you think is most relevant, and whoever you might know, and we can always route that to the right person if it's not the person you send it to first. Dr. Politzis, do you have any other remarks?
Well, thank you to Dr. Assad for putting together this town hall, and thank you for all of you attending. And I think now you can see why I am so honored to work with this great group of people because they've been very busy doing a lot of really remarkable things. And I love the suggestions that came up. So keep them coming. Anything you want to put in the chat, or just raise your hand. Happy to hear anybody's suggestions. Oh, good. Gilberto.
Hi, Dr. Politzis, and thank you so much for the informative session. I learned a lot of the potentials of joining the membership, and actually is regarding becoming a member. Right now, I'm a research fellow here at Banner Phoenix with Dr. Baina, and we were wondering because I want to volunteer, I want to see a way to get involved and help. And I read one of the requirements that you are supposed to be a member. And if that's the case, I want to be a member. Is there any pathway that we can follow, or can we volunteer without being a member?
This is a great question, Gilberto. And, again, we've tried to make it very easy for students and residents, and folks like yourself that are in training to join. I'm going to turn it over to Dario to answer that question formally.
Sure, of course. Yeah, thanks, Gilberto, for the question. Yeah, fortunately, we have essentially free membership for trainees. So membership through the ASSFN is done through the My INS website. So if you have INS membership, you can go to your member site on the My INS and start an ASSFN member application. It's pretty simple, just a few fields. You upload a CV, and then it's reviewed by the membership committee. And membership stays complimentary through training. And we have a call for volunteers currently on the website, and we're taking track of who wants to be involved in committees, and we certainly are welcoming trainees to join those. And so I would say do both. Both perhaps look into the INS website so you can submit your application for the membership, and then put your name in for the call for volunteers, so we can keep your name on the list when we're trying to plug in everybody into the different committees.
Perfect, sounds good, and thank you so much, Dr. Englert and Dr. Politzis.
Thanks a lot.
If I can
Our
just
pleasure.
add,
And then
Dr.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Julie.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. So if anything comes up, and you can't work through the process for whatever reason, and this goes for anybody on the call or anybody, just email one of us and we can help. Sorry, Nate, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you wouldn't mind just putting your email in the chat, I'll take that and I'll contact you tomorrow, and I can kind of walk you through the process as well.
No, thank you so much, Nathan. I will. Thank you so much, Dr. Nathan.
Great. Any other questions or comments or any feedback for the programs that you saw, or ideas that maybe weren't reflected in the initiatives that people have?
And again, I think we threw a lot at you, and as you have time to think about this, even if you think it's, you're not sure how feasible it is, or whether, it's a good idea or not, I think absolutely send it to us, because, I think we're trying to prioritize some things to check off, our strategic plan, some that are going to be kind of low hanging fruit, some that are going to be a little bit harder. I think what the lower hanging fruit that we're trying to do that, all of you probably have some experience with is, creating a repository of documents that you can submit to insurance companies when when things get denied. And so, when you're starting out in practice, you never have any of those things. And, we don't want to make you go through the, through the ringer doing that, as there's so many things to do. And, I think I see a lot of young folks in training on this. I think another perfect example that Chen gave was we want to be a reliable source of information for patients. And, I think the AANS does a nice job doing that, as do some other websites. But, just specific to stereotactic and functional neurosurgery, I think creating that is something that a very easy and meaningful way for young folks to get involved.
Okay, I don't see any more questions coming through, and if there aren't any more comments, thank you everyone for joining. It's been a pleasure to have everyone here, and thank you to all the presenters for all the great information. And we look forward to engaging with all of you in some fashion in the coming days and weeks and months. Thank you.